Hey guys, it's Kathy. I just wanted to tell you all about a couple of resources that you may be interested in. First is the weekly newsletter called the FUMS Friday Night Six Pack. It goes out at 5 p.m. Eastern every Friday because it's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? It contains links to the top 6 happenings in the world of MS that week. Another great email list to sign up for, the Patients Getting Paid list. I'm working on an online course for those of us in the chronic community that either lost our jobs and need some flexible opportunities or that just want to supplement their existing income. Think being able to work from an infusion center or home or wherever and getting paid. If that sounds like something you might be interested in learning more about, sign up at FUMSnow.com/patients getting paid, and I'll let you know as soon as I launch that course. Thanks everybody, and FUMS. Welcome to the FUMS Now podcast show, where you'll gain information, inspiration, and motivation for living your best life with multiple sclerosis. Find us online at FUMSnow.com. I'm your host, Kathy Reagan Young. My guest today is Stephen Camp, president and founder of Avior Nutritionals, the makers of Myetin, the high-dose biotin and NAD plus supplement that I've been taking for 4 months with great results. He's a great guy with a great mission. He just genuinely wants to help people. We need more people like him in the world. Let's go meet him. So, hi, Stephen. Thanks so much for being here today, and welcome to the FUMS podcast show.
Kathy, thanks for having me. It's really exciting to be with you today. This is a first, and we're excited about it.
Yeah, I'm excited you're here. So just to let everybody know, I met you because I reached out after learning about Myetin through our mutual friend Caroline Craven of Girl with MS. And she's been a guest on the FUMS podcast show a couple of times, and she mentioned Myetin on both of those shows. She was talking about how she had found this new energy and clarity having been on Myetin for a few months. So, of course, I wanted some of that. So I tried it for 3 months, and I had more energy, and it really addressed my cog fog issues. And those were the two things, that I was looking for, because that's what Caroline had experienced. But I also found that I had a lot of hair regrowth after losing quite a bit thanks to Tecfidera. And I found that my rosacea went dormant, which was crazy. I didn't expect either of those things to happen, but they did. So now I'm spreading the good word to the FUMS Nation because I want everybody to experience the great things that I've experienced. So that's how we met. So let's start at the beginning with the ingredients. The ingredients in Myetin are biotin and NAD+. So what the heck are those, and why do our bodies need them?
Well, that's a great question. Myetin is unique in that it's the first product to combine these two ingredients that the body really needs. The first one that you talk about is biotin. It might be seen as D-biotin, but it's a natural occurring form of the B vitamin biotin. And biotin itself assists in many functions throughout the body. Most of all, what's important to realize is that biotin is really needed for the production of fatty acid synthesis in the Krebs cycle. So it helps activate certain enzymes, the ACC1 and ACC2 enzymes, which are needed in that fatty acid cycle or fatty acid synthesis to really help with the production of myelin sheath. A lot of the things, you'll find biotin, and we've seen biotin in many ways over a lot of different things. You talk about hair growth, and you said,
right.
I really had it. Yeah. Biotin's in a lot of hair products, and we see it in a lot of hair products. But if you really look at it, it's a minute amount. There's very little in it. When you take in Myetin, we're getting 150 milligrams of Myetin in every tablet. So when you take it twice a day, that's that 300 milligrams of biotin that a lot of the studies have talked about, that a lot of studies in this category. So you're getting the biotin, the amount that you need, that unless you take a handful of pills or take it 3 times a day, if you get 100 milligrams or a small amount, you won't get there. But it provides the underlying nutrition or the health, the cellular health that the body's needing, especially when you're dealing with trying to address healthy nerves and repair, not so much repair, but giving the body what it needs to allow the body to do what the body's supposed to do.
Right.
So that stuff, biotin is the first part of what makes up myotin. But the second part of myotin is what's really unique. And that's, if you've seen it, a lot of people are sitting there and are talking about NAD or NAD plus. And it's been miscategorized, I guess. I don't want to call it miscategorized, but it's been promoted that a lot of products out there have NAD in it. A lot of products out there have either a precursor to NAD, which might be a product called with NR or nicotinamide riboside, but that's not NAD. NR goes into the cycle to produce NAD, but what you have in myotin is actually the active formula of nicotinamide, adenine, dinucleotide, or NAD+. It's the real deal.
Easy for you to say.
Well, hey, you've done this a long time, but that's what it is. So you'll see a lot of it out there, especially in anti-aging or anything. But what it does is NAD is in every cell of our body. It's a functional enzyme in our bodies. But what it is for cellular energy. And of course, as we age, batteries kind of run down. So how do we recharge those, and how do we supplement or feed the NAD into it? And that's what the NAD is for. Gotcha. But also, when you get into a condition in many ways, and the body's an amazing machine. It's built in a way that is just remarkable. I mean, we're just now learning and finding out many things in our body and in cells and gene sequencing. But the body, when given the proper cellular nutrition or support in there, the body can do amazing things. So basically with myotin, we're looking at giving the body the nutrients that it needs at a cellular level. Thus, that's why we talk about cellular level nutrition, to help the body do what the body can do. And so if we make it available, that's what it is. So, but with the biotin, if you don't have enough energy to move it down those electron chains through cellular energy, it can't get to where it needs to go. So
the two together, that's the key.
It's the combination together.
Gotcha.
And so you've got 25 milligrams of NAD in each dose. And when you take it twice a day, that's 50 milligrams. So that's what's going in there. I think that's what you're feeling when you go back and you talk about energy and cog fog and some of the other things that you've mentioned. It's really the NAD in there. And the medical community is really coming along right now. We've known a lot about biotin, and the NAD is coming on real strong. That's a really hot topic that they're talking about, and a lot of published studies around it. So, but this is your first product out there that has the two combined, especially for those.
So do the two kind of synthesize with each other? Do they help the other one?
I think they're complementary. As you get into the Krebs cycle, and this gets real deep, but if you get into the Krebs cycle, you'll see they are a complementary item. One helps support the other. Gotcha.
Perfect. So you mentioned a study, and I saw a pilot study using myotin, and the participants reported a 48% improvement in pain and a 15% improvement in fatigue while taking the combination of the high dose biotin and NAD+. Those numbers are crazy good. That's pretty impressive.
It's exciting. So, Kathy, where we started with this, of course, and I know that we'll probably talk about it at some point in time, but where we started with this is, my background, as you see from that, with 30 plus years in the pharmaceutical industry, a lot of medical food experience, a lot of different things in there. So the thing about it is when you come into this route, we started this with board certified neurologists with a concept or a question of, let's look at the science behind these two ingredients, and is it plausible that this would make a change in people experiencing a neurodegenerative condition? And the answer was yes. They said, that's very intriguing. We'd love to look at that. So basically for the year, we allowed the physicians to start patients, recommend this, put it on, and we gave them the product. But at the catch with that is we needed to know more than anything, what impact did it have? Right. So we adapted out of UCLA Medical Center a MSQL quality of life score. And it's online. It's still online today. And it basically is 26 questions that are a subjective questioning that goes through all of these questions, because if you're like me, that I don't really remember what I felt or talked about or thought about a couple hours ago, much less a month ago.
Sure.
So we put this online so that people could sit there and record what they were feeling over a standardized questionnaire over the course of time. So we watched them for a year, and it was available to them. They could share it with their physicians. The physicians looked at it. And out of this data that they reported, this was self-reported. So that's the only way we could do it. But it was a self-reported quality of life scale that, and as you looked at it, the questions along all of them, I mean, it went from pain all the way to sexual function. I mean, it's a medical questionnaire.
Comprehensive, yeah.
Pain there, and I had to think about that as we started going back with these physicians and talking with them and looking at them, and they're saying, well, pain is it's I'm feeling better, and it could be a result from many different things: sleep, an improved sleep pattern, that my pain is better. And you experienced this one, the cog fog, the fatigue. I'm feeling better. I can think better. I can function better. Yes. I can move better. And so those were two of the biggest things that were reported. Headaches, muscle spasticity. Those two were very large drops. But pain and fatigue were two of the largest things that patients reported over the course of time.
And I'm reporting it too. And since I'm reporting it, I want to shout it from the rooftops to everybody in the FUMS nation. I want everybody to feel this good. Your website says that your company, Avior Nutritionals, believes that the body can heal itself when given the right nutritional support. I think that's what you were really talking about there. Does that mean that you don't think people should be on other medications like disease-modifying therapies?
Absolutely not. I'm going to tell you, the thing about it is, over the course of the years, and remember, Myetin wouldn't be categorized in any way, shape, or form as a disease-modifying agent. We are basically, with Myetin, looking at providing nutrients that the body uses to make certain cellular functions happen in that Krebs cycle. So no, when you get into these types of things like disease-modifying agents, those are key and paramount in all of these things. That's why it's so important to really work closely with your physician, even with taking Myetin. I think it would be amiss to sit here and think that we're going to do things on our own without including our healthcare professional. Right. They need to be brought into this. And that's one of the reasons why, most importantly, when we started with the symptom tracker, when we made it an online form that the patients could print out and take to their doctor and share with them, because in that continuum of care, one physician, one patient, and how it goes, that's paramount, and that's what we've got to support. So above everything else, you always got to go back, no matter what you're on. And we've talked about this. I mean, you can try whatever you want to, but please, whatever you do, make sure that your healthcare provider is in the loop with this.
Yeah.
That
Great
is
advice.
The most important thing that you can do. So
absolutely. So your website lists a medical advisory board, and may I say it's quite extensive and very impressive. But what do they do? What does a medical advisory board do?
So, like I said, as you go back to this, it's where did we go with this? Again, 30 years in the pharmaceutical industry, owning companies, that we've moved on from. But in this realm, again, all of this needs to be bound by science. All this needs to be bound by good thinking above everything else. So to me, from where it is I stand on the outside and I look in and I say, there really is, when you get into these neurological conditions, when you get into things like MS or ALS or Parkinson's, there has to be, above everything else, a healthcare provider involved. So when we went to it, those are the people that we sit around us and go, all right, gentlemen, ladies. And I mean, and as you can see, we've got board certified neurologists, we've got functional medicine, we got psychiatrists. Ross Grants is a Nobel laureate. I mean, these are people that are sit there that don't have any. I think, Kathy, one of the things that we talked about here is, and I'm gonna tell this real quick. When you called me and we talked about it, and you told me what you experienced and all that, I said, Kathy, that's great. I said, but listen, I cannot put words in people's mouths. I am not here to pitch a product just to sell. I am more interested in how do we affect or help an outcome, or how do we help an individual move and get a better quality of life.
Right.
And I believe that, so when you talk about the medical board and what's sitting there, those are the physicians, and that's just a touch of them because there's a lot more. There's a lot of physicians that we surround and go, guys, this is what we're thinking. Doctors, this is where it is. Where does this support from? How does this really work? And again, you have to rely on them instead of just some marketing or internet or it's amazing what people will say and just
on the internet, all the claims.
It's amazing the claims people will make, and they'll go wild. And I go, and just because of what we believe and who we are, I just can't buy into that. I just can't put it to say, let's just make a marketing message and see what we can sell.
Right. Yeah.
That's why we spend a year giving it away, going, tell us, does this really work before we go tell anybody else and share it with them? That's what we base this on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it really does work. I'm just going to throw that out there one more time.
Yeah.
So can you share some, I've shared my story and Caroline Craven has shared her story. Can you share some of the stories that you've heard from other people with MS taking Myetin?
I'm going to tell you, you know, one that goes back in, I've got one that calls all the time, and she's an ER nurse in Texas, and a young mom. I'm a father of 3 daughters, so when we look at this, this strikes really close to my heart. But she says, I'm a mom, and I'm an ER nurse, and I have to work this shift work. I love what I do, but
she needs some energy.
She said, I'd come off my shift, I'd come home, and I'd just have to crash.
Yeah.
And I couldn't function. And I've been taking this for about a year now. And she said, my quality of life has changed dramatically. I haven't changed anything else I did, but I can come home and interact with my family. I've got a doctor up in, a retired dentist up in the Northeast that'll call and say, look, I don't know what it is. I know I'm getting older. I'm at an age where I'm older, but I've been battling this disease for a long time. And I can think clearer. I can sit and I can do my work that I want to do. I can interact with my family. So the stories are from people that sit there. And so that's what this was about. And that's why we started with the physicians. That's why we started with the group of doctors. That's why we surrounded ourselves with the group of doctors, because we wanted it to be something that, and especially like with you, we want you to tell us. And if it wasn't one that was going to make a difference in a life, then it wasn't something worth doing. So now we're just at that point to try to tell other people, said, guys, give it an opportunity, because these are not my words. These are not words from a New York marketing firm or somebody putting them in there, or words just spread over Amazon. These are live people, and this is what their story is.
Right. Yep. And I'm one, and I have a really big mouth, so I will be sharing it. So is Myetin just for people with MS?
No, Myetin is really not. And that's the thing about it. It's kind of caught on somewhat in this community because of some of the published trials, published studies that are done. But really, when you look at it, you look at the ingredients and you understand what they're really doing. It's really at the basic for nerve health. That's what this is for. So it's not really designed for a specific disease. We look at things as they move through from how do we give nutritional support for healthy nerves? So you lose a lot of that stuff. As we move through, we live with the largest population of diabetes because of what we eat, of how we treat our body, how we move through this. So we've replaced a lot of the things that are out there today. Those individuals that are sitting there that say, I'm having issues, but it really boils back down to my nerves. It boils back down to the signaling, more importantly, in our nerves. And how do we nutritionally support through cellular nutrition those things to give the body back what it core needs to get to that part for the body to do what it does.
Yeah. So you have a 90-day challenge tab on your site. What is that about?
Remember, the biggest thing we're talking about is micronutrients in cells.
So it takes some time.
This thing is not going to happen overnight. And so a lot of people say, well, I'm going to get a bottle and in 30 days, I didn't feel anything.
Right.
Probably not. I mean, we didn't get here. We didn't do the things that we did in 30 days.
Right.
So you got to give your body a chance for the time. So that's what we said. Hey, take a 90-day challenge. We know based upon the on the scales that we've done over the course of time, we know that the reported evidence that sits there and goes at 90 days, man, something moved. Mm-hmm. And these things change. And I think that's exactly what you experienced, Kathy, when we sat there and talked about it. I said, Kathy, take it for 90 days. Let's see what your response was. So I'll turn it back to you. Kathy, did you feel anything at 30 days or did it change?
I did not. I did not. Right about, for me, it was about a month and a half in. And honestly, I'm wondering if I just noticed it then, because then I started paying more attention to it. It was like, in fact, one day I was walking down the steps. I went to walk down the steps in the morning like I do every morning, take the dogs out. And it occurred to me that it didn't hurt. Like I wasn't guarding myself going down the steps because so many things were functioning as they used to. So it was almost like, I don't know, I had gone backward in time because I wasn't scared walking down the steps. I had an incredible sense of balance that I hadn't had in a while. My knees didn't hurt, like my joints didn't hurt going down the steps. I just felt a lot more confident and clear. Now, that may have happened sooner, but I just noticed it at that point. But it was interesting because it was a familiar feeling. It's what I used to feel like. And now I felt like it again. And it was amazing to me. And that only got better. And then I started noticing actually my hairdresser noticed the hair regrowth because I have a mop of hair. I have so much hair. It didn't do me any harm to lose some, frankly. But she started noticing and asking me, like, what's all this? Why do you have all this baby hair? And I said, oh my gosh, maybe it's from the Myetin. I didn't even think about that. And then, and then the rosacea just was non-existent. I went, this is great. Like, I wasn't looking for any of that stuff to happen, but it did.
And that's why above everything else, whether anybody takes Myetin or not, I would highly encourage you to utilize the symptom tracker. It's free. Mm-hmm. You can look at your days. You can go where you go back and forth. I mean, that's the only thing. That's why we did a 90-day challenge. Mm-hmm. And we sit there and say, take it for 90 days. Mm-hmm. See what difference it makes in your life. And it's also, as you see on that side, look, this is probably not what most people are going to tell you. We're doing this for something bigger than finance. Mm-hmm. It's really for impacting a quality of life in these wonderful, wonderful people. Mm-hmm. And I'm willing to say, and we've always made this, if it doesn't help you, tell me. Mm-hmm. We'll give you all your money back. Mm-hmm. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, that's why I say do the 90-day challenge. Take it, see what you got, and if it's not for you, fine. Then don't waste your money. I will give you your money back. So yeah,
I love that, and I love, in talking to you and your purpose in doing this. Like you said, it's not financial. You really care a lot, and you want to have impact on people's lives. And I know the first time I spoke with you, you talked about not only impacting the person who's taking the Myetin, but how that impacts, it's got the ripple effect, and it impacts their family, and it impacts their work and their coworkers and all that. And it just, I think you're there for all the right reasons, and that means a lot to me too. So thank you for being who you are, and I'm so happy that Myetin works as well as it does, because I love to be able to share this information with others, but also to support you, because I think you're just a really nice human being, and there's not enough of those in the world. So,
well, I am, like I said, I'm a father of 3 daughters. I am a husband to a breast cancer survivor, and I know what it means when one in the household is not right, and it does.
Impacts everybody.
It impacts everybody. So that's what we're trying to touch on more than anything.
Yeah, and you do. One last question. I know that it's set. Caroline is the one who really kind of explained to me that I need to dissolve it in my mouth, not chew it.
Yep.
So what is the reasoning behind that?
Well, the thing about it is what we want to do is we wanted to try to make it a convenience for you. And, some people have a problem swallowing with some certain things.
True.
So we wanted to really look at it as how could we get the ingredients to the body as fast as possible. Mm-hmm. So we made it in a really great tasting chewable tablet. You can chew it. You can let it dissolve in your mouth, however you want to do it. But the more that we can introduce it as early as possible into the system, the better absorption that we have.
It is a treat, let me just say, because I wrote about this. So there's a blog post at FUMSnow.com about this and my first experience with it, because it is so good. I think I chewed it the first time and then dissolved it the next time after I talked to Caroline. But regardless, point being, I was going, what is that? It's so familiar. What is that? I love this flavor. And it took me a minute. And then I went, oh my God, it's sweet tarts. It tastes just like sweet tarts to me.
It does taste good.
Yeah. When I was a little kid, I loved sweet tarts. That was a treat back then, and it's a treat now. So I get a treat twice a day.
Well, good.
Yeah, I love it. Well, Stephen, this has been such an interesting conversation. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I really appreciate it. And if people are interested in learning more about Myetin or even ordering it and trying that 90-day challenge, where should they go?
You can very easily go to our website, which is Avior, Avior Nutritionals.com. But more importantly, what I tell you is I know, look, go to Kathy's site, FUMSnow.com. There's a link right there on hers. Kathy works us. So I'd ask all you listeners, listen to what Kathy has to say. Go to her, read it. You can go to AvierNutritionals.com and you can read more about that. That's where I would tell you. That's where you'd go.
Perfect. Thank you. Yep. As always, everybody, the show notes will include all of the links that we talked about today. And certainly that URL will be right there. So again, Stephen, thank you so much for this product. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. And thanks for spending a little time with FUMS.
Well, thank you so much for trusting me and with your followers. And I love to talk to them someday.
Great. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. I really appreciate you listening to the FUMS podcast show. Be sure to subscribe to it so you won't miss an episode. You can do that right on the website at FUMSnow.com. While you're there, sign up for the free email list so you'll be among the first to know of any new findings in MS research, new therapies and products, as well as any blog posts and podcast episodes I release. Want to chat with others in the FUMS community? Join us on Facebook at FUMSnow. Thanks again, and don't forget to talk to the stupid disease as it deserves. Tell it FUMS every day.